Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the IBD Ostomy Support Show. Tonight, so far, you've got Louise, aka me, Crane's fighting, and you've got Rachel, because no other gets signed in. I know Nat's not doing this evening. Nat's been working and plugging very hard, covering for me because I've been ill. So Nat's off tonight. Steffi, I don't know where she is. I believe Steve's meant to be signing in at some point, but he might sort of latch on in the last 10-15 minutes. Yeah, and that's about it. So this week we are going to be discussing mental health and dressing with an ostomy. The live chat is active this evening because yours truly is back using it. We tried to get some other moderators set up next week and it just did not work. I'm getting on top of that though. What else? Yeah, so this week, what have I been doing? I managed to get to Berlin and back in less than 24 hours over the weekend. I got back from not Berlin, Belgium. Jesus Christ. I went to Bruges. I went to Belgium. Holy mother of God, my brain's still not in gear. I managed to get to Belgium and back in less than 24 hours. And I was on time. My brother lives 25 minutes down the road from me, and he still couldn't drop his child off in time for a birthday party. So other than that, I've been recovering. I've done a lot of blog posts this week, so apologies for those who have been bombarded with, another blog post. I did one on Monday about does being chronically ill affect me as a mother. I had one go up reviewing vanilla blush knickers, and I've had another one going up about mental health, because for those of you viewing and those of you that read my blog, I have touched on it before, but I have PTSD and got diagnosed nearly 8 years ago because of everything that happened to me whilst I was in hospital with the life support and everything else. It's not something I've really touched on before, so yes, I'm not saying that I'm mental, but obviously I do have mental health, wouldn't say issues, but more of a byproduct of what's happened to me because of my Crohn's and because of having surgery. But we'll touch on that in a bit. I will pass over to Rachel, and I'm hoping to God the other two sign in.
Hi guys, I'm Rachel, aka Rockin' Two Stomas. So my week, I came out of hospital on Friday. I have sporting a catheter in my urostomy, and it's not much pain this week, so I think it has helped me. But on tomorrow, the district nurses are going to come and remove it, and then I've got a week without the catheter. And if I get the pain back, then the surgeon's going to do the operation. So I'm kind of hoping it doesn't, but I'm still unsure whether it's a flare up because I've got ulcers all in my mouth, and I don't know. I'm not sure if whether it's to do with the ileoconduit or it's to do with rectum or anything else. So I don't really want the operation. That is quite risky. They said it's 60% chance I won't make it through on the table. That's why he's really does not want to do it. So it'll only be. Hey, Steffi.
Yay!
It would only be last minute. So yeah, I've been busy. I've just set it up with a few others. A urostomy awareness campaign, which is amazing, and the post is really good, and brave people sharing their showing their stomas, which is awesome. I've dealt with some resistance in the medical profession, but it's okay. We're still going to keep doing what we're doing and post as much as I can. And yeah, so that's about me. I've just been very busy. That's it.
Hi,
cool, Steffi. Hey, Steph.
Hi.
You got Jacob. Lovely.
I have, because Rara's been strapping. Stephen's still trying to put her to bed. So
you got baby.
Oh, he is so adorable.
Oh, I can't see a thing. Hold on 1 second. Ugh.
Hello.
Oh, bless him.
Hello, Jacob. Hello.
Here's your baby. That's right. I put primer on my face hoping I wouldn't sweat, and it's bloody boiling in here. I've had to close the doors so they don't hear the trains going past every time, like you guys do when we switch off. Yeah, so what have you been up to this week, Steffi?
I did some blog posts. I had my first day with both my kids, and I didn't kill anyone, so that's a plus. You go to Daddy. I went to town to see my friends and surprise Stephen from work.
Oh, that's lovely.
I went to the doctors. They think I may have an infection somewhere to do with my C-section, because she's not happy with how tender it is. My sertralin's been upped 100 milligrams instead of 50, with the chance of it being tripled in 2 weeks. Ridiculous anxieties that I've been getting.
Has the bleeding not stopped?
No. Stopped and then started again a week later. But because of the pain and where the pain is, she thinks it might be an infection rather than anything else. So, but we'll see. She did a swab and stuff, so anyway, she's given me antibiotics, which I totally forgot to take entirely today because I'm useless.
So you did take your antibiotics?
No, not today. I took one
Should
last
I
night.
start sending you 3-hourly reminders through every day?
You just got you got the Louise look. You got the look.
Remember what you lot were telling me last week? It's coming right back at you. Oh dear God! So
I got to town and I just went, oh my God, I haven't taken any of my tablets.
So what shall we be going to town on this evening? Shall we start with dressing with an ostomy, or shall we start with mental health?
Dressing, because I think the mental health might take a bit longer. Going into masses of detail.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, who wants to go first with that one then?
Rachel, because I'd love to know what it's like how you dress with 2 bags and a prolapse.
Well, I think I was thinking about this earlier, and I think it's easier having not been lopsided in a way. Like, because I've got the 2 bags, it's a bit easier than when I just had the 1. But I am struggling with the prolapse. I struggle because the hernia. I've got a hernia as well that goes along with the prolapse, and that when that gets bigger and the prolapse gets bigger, and I think now I don't really care. I usually wear, like now I've got this top on, but I've got a black top, a long top underneath, and I make sure I wear longer tops. I think I dress now, since having the urostomy, I probably dress a bit better than I did when I just had the ileostomy. But touching on later with the mental health side, like I had a lot of mental health with the addiction and stuff then, and I just dressed black. I didn't dress colours. I just kind of, yeah. Well, I'm a wannabe goth, yeah. I'll go more into like the sort of like normal, like kind of normal, like generic. But I've always I've been. This is totally not related, but I can't have the tattoo. But I've been looking at the henna thing like Louise posted, and it's £120 to have a whole arm. I'm so gonna have that done. But anyway, going back to the soma, yeah, I find that I just kind of don't care. And I've got to a point where I've accepted that all the surgeries failed. And I used to, every time a surgery failed for the prolapse, I was so upset and it was so disheartening and I was just in bits that now I'm not having a surgery. I just kind of got used to it. It's just like, it is what it is. I just got to make sure I keep my weight at a good put on weight. It changes the size and it can be too big. So I need to lose a bit for it to be a bit more comfortable. But yeah, that's me, really. How about you, Louise?
Oh, God, first time round. Jesus Christ. I look like, used to dress in a mixture of smock. Do you remember the smock dresses that used to cinch in just under the boobs and come down? Yeah, I used to wear those in leggings all the time. And, oh, dear God, support shorts from Marks and Spencer's and Primark for 3 years. I thought I was dying. And I will be the first to openly admit it wouldn't be the first time that I'd gone out in support shorts and not gone home in them. because there's nothing worse than going out and having a good old feed up and feeling like your tummy can't stretch. So ending up going commando or carrying spare knickers in my handbag, just because when I get to the point and if I've had enough to drink, I just think, nah, take them off, be fine.
At least you put something else on.
Most of the time. I struggled the first time round, but I think that was mainly because of where the stoma was. It was on an incisional hernia, and I had an open wound as well, which was in a triangle, and there was no method of support that was going to flatten that down or hide it. So yeah, I pretty much dressed like a throwback in maternity clothing first time round. Second time round, I did my research because I knew it was going to be permanent, but I also knew I wasn't going to have the open wound this time, and I've been fine. Things I hate: support belts. Did either of you get given the support belts after surgery? Oh my god, I hate them. They are the worst.
Is that the, because I've got one from, I think, I can't remember where it's from, and they got measured for it, and like it was really good, but suddenly now it's like it's just not fit, it's not wide enough for the 2 bags, and it was good stuff, because with all the prolapses they gave me one, measured me up, but it rolls up, it's just I just don't use it now.
I don't like them. It's the Velcro system on the support belts that do me.
Yes,
and
that's the same. Yeah,
and if you're like me and you've got a really long torso, they're made for short people.
Yeah, I found that. I ended up when we did the underwear drawer, I found mine and I binned that piece of crap.
Did you?
But then again, I also told them on the phone, the company that provide me it, that I would never ever give them custom ever again, because all they did was slag off other companies, and I don't appreciate that. So I did write a pretty harsh review on their company and the company that they were slagging off, saying that they loved it and stuff. So, but if you're just slating other people's companies, every company is different in one way or another.
I have to say though, with regards to any sort of support wear, I think I would rather wear support shorts that come up under the boobs from Primark than wear a support belt, in my personal opinion. But that is purely because Steffi, did you ever find you get like the funny muffin top between your bra and the...
Yes, and not only that, it's like I tried to put it on the other day. Because Lawrence said, why don't you wear it more? And I said, there's no, because you can see it through your top anyway, but it just doesn't stay, and the bags pop through, and I just think, I just wouldn't, Oh, hey Steve.
Hello.
Hi Steve.
Yay! Steve's on.
Right.
Yay! You're in.
I'm only 10 minutes late. Well, 40 minutes late.
Nah, you're fine. It's better late to the party than early.
To anyone that doesn't know what the support belts are like, if you've ever had a sprain or a fracture that requires one of them splint Velcro casts on your hands, is put around your stomach without the bit of metal in. But Louise, you saying about your smock tops and stuff, I live in things like that because I happen to really like that sort of style. So, you're just slating my style there.
Oh no, I'm not slating your style. I just have a different style to what you do. You look lovely in what you wear. I look like I'm 12 or dressed like my grandmother. I have that tendency to go that way, like 12 years old. It's like when I put my glasses on or have a fringe, I look like I'm 12 and I'm 30, 31, nearly 32. It just doesn't do it for me.
When I was a teenager, I would wear things for comfort with my IBD because I gained weight with mine. The big skater flare bell-bottom cords.
Oh my god, I used to love them.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah,
I had them in all sorts of colours.
Yeah, me too.
The only time you No, God, I think I said this before. The only time you'll get me in corduroy is if I'm lying dead on a slab and my mother's dressed me.
I love corduroy. Stephen hates it. I love corduroy.
I love
absolutely love
those
it.
flares were amazing. I have so many different colours. They were amazing. I love those type of trousers. And my trousers were always massive, like covering my trainers.
I remember there was a thunderstorm one time in it, and I went to run, obviously because it was raining, and caught my foot in the back of it and ripped it right up the back. And I was like,
oh, no.
And then I just safety pinned it, and I'm pretty sure I wore that until my nana got sick of me looking like a scruff and it up. But like now, my dress sense hasn't really changed. I wear a lot of leggings. I like the extra long ones from Primark because I've got really long legs. I like long tops and stuff like things like that, and the fact that I like punkier, scruffier clothes helps, I guess. But then again, I also like looking like a girl. And someone told me that I couldn't wear bodycon with a Stoma bag, and you totally can. You know, the right underwear or support wear or whatever you want to use.
Oh my God, what's bodycon? I know, I'm like...
It's the tight dresses. So, you know, like my pencil skirts and like that.
Oh, okay. Oh my God.
Like Stephanie's dresses, it's like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah, I get it.
So I go out looking nice and flat and then get the train home from the hospital and look like I'm giving birth on one side for 9 months. But I mean, what about you, Steve? What do you wear for support? Because I know that you've got the Aristotle.
Aristotle.
Aristotle. I nearly got it right. I still can't say it. I'm such a fluid.
I kind of wear this. I wear lots of dark colours, to be fair. Kind of baggy t-shirts-ish. I'm not keen on massively baggy t-shirts, but because my arms are quite big, they're like skirts. Some of the t-shirts that I buy, so I have to either take them in or try and get a t-shirt that's not too tight on the arms. But I'm really aware of my hernia now. It's kind of like growing, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, it's hard.
It's a real issue. It's hard, isn't it, Steve? Because like I've got through the stage of I've had my prolapse and hernia, because with the prolapse it's a hernia. I've had it for about 4 years now, I think, and I've had surgery for it and it's failed. And now it's failed, I've kind of just resigned to it, and now it's I've sort of, because I know there's nothing more can be done, I've kind of let go and it's easier. But times when I was in bits because of surgery fail or it was getting bigger, or when it came out, I was just it's hard, and dressing was difficult, and I just wanted to like lift my top and go, I'm not really this fat, you know. It's because I've got prolapse. So I get it. It's hard. It's hard.
This weather as well. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I love the sun, but it's kind of like I don't particularly want to wear a vest under my top when it's this hot.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear a band. No. But I'm having to because I'm really aware of it sticking out now. Whether other people, no one's really mentioned it, to be fair, but I look down and it's all I see now. It's kind of like it's become a real issue in my brain, but that's the only thing that bothers me about it.
When you know something's there, you're more aware of it anyway.
Yeah.
Because to look at you, Steve, I wouldn't be able to tell. Like, did you have it at Christmas?
Yes.
Right. Well, I wouldn't have been able to tell at all at Christmas in the slightest.
No. But,
that's honest.
It's grown, but I'm obviously aware that my next op is probably it's going to be next year now, and which they're going to move it to the other side. But, okay. Just fingers crossed, really. I mean, I'm struggling to sort of. I'm never going to have a washboard stomach. That's not going to happen. But I'm quite happy with my stomach on the left-hand side. I have to start walking strangely, I think.
You and me both, Steve. I'm never, due to my surgeries, I'm not going to ever have a flat stomach. I resigned myself to that a long time ago.
I have to start walking backwards.
I'm an alien. I don't have a belly button no more, so hey.
Show off.
I was clowned.
But Steve, I found that with my stoma and with my hernia and prolapse, it's much worse in the heat. Like I've been moaning so much this week, my poor partner, because it's just been too hot. But I've noticed that it's swelled up a lot. Like I've got this vest on underneath, and I feel like taking it off, it's too tight, you know. And I don't know if that is. I don't know if that's a common thing actually. The heat, the hernias get more.
The heat does exacerbate it. I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Okay.
Have I worn vanilla blush this week, apart from today? No. It's too hot and too sweaty to be wearing things that are tight, that hold you in, that do all the right things when all you want to do is breathe.
I think I've become more comfortable just walking around with no top at the minute. I'd rather explain the bag than explain why my stomach's sticking out. You know what I mean? But,
it's been miserable up north. So
is it?
Can me and Rachel just say how much we hate you right now?
Yeah, really.
Honestly,
Like,
God,
It's been unreal. It's been unreal down here.
It was like 35 degrees down here yesterday.
Yeah. I left my house and it was miserable. It had been raining, and Larry, Beth and I were both in big jackets, and Jacob was in a little hoodie and blankets. And then when we got off the bus in Northallerton, it was just sunshine. I was like, oh my God. Because there's only like 20 miles between where I used to live and where I live now, and it's just like, this is ridiculous. And it was just roasting, and I was like, I feel like I'm going to die. And I was in my vanilla blush underwear. I was like, but I'm not. I am only wearing my vanilla blush underwear rather than mixing it up like I would normally, because I don't want my bag to be anywhere near my scar while it's still healing. I'd much rather know that it's just, it's healed, but I just don't want to risk it until I know it's fully.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Like my vanilla blush, like I bought vanilla blush the same time as Louise bought hers, and like mine took 2 days to come, and I have, to be honest, I haven't really worn them, and I think I love them. They're brilliant, but I think with the prolapse, it's just my bags keep bursting. I don't think it's not the product, it's because of the prolapse, but I keep having accidents, and they just, because it's so big on this side, it just looks mishmash. So it's kind of, I haven't really been wearing them as much. I just wear, if I go out, I wear a bag on. But if I'm around the house, I have the bags out. For me, because I do get some pain with the prolapse on hernia. Like I don't like anything on it. So if I'm going out, then I'll put some underwear on. If not, I'll just let them hang low, hang out.
There's not really any underwear designed for prolapse, is there?
Yeah, no.
How do you treat it? I mean, how would you look after it? Obviously with the hernia, designed to push in, but with the prolapse, it's hanging externally, isn't it?
With a prolapse, it's like there's different issues, but like there's different things you can do. Normally, it's lie down flat, you put ice on it, and the majority of them do go back in eventually. So if they're out, they do go back in. Like when I wake up, my prolapse is not as big as it is when I go to bed. But for me now, it's got to a point where it doesn't go back in anymore as much during the day. So I have to. But I've been, like, I must stress, I've been taught this by my stoma nurses, the consultants, like how to push my prolapse back in, and I just get gloves and I have to push it back in, put ice on, change the bag. It's a bit faffy to change a bag, but that's what I have to do, and I've got used to it now. It's my norm, it's what I'm used to. But yeah, there aren't any underwear for it. I don't think there can be, because
it's a difficult one, isn't it?
Because it does cause pain, like more pain when I wear the underwear. But yeah, so I think it's just something I just use on special occasions, I think.
Because would you say, I mean, I know the severity of your prolapse is a lot more severe than what other people's prolapses, where people have been coming out about them. But it's a case, isn't it, where, say, 6 times out of 10, those that have had the prolapse go and have the revision surgery or the reciting surgery, and the prolapse doesn't come back.
No, it's my consultant said to me, he said it's so unusual. It's like not heard of that the prolapse surgery has failed a second time. It's normally always the first time. And if that second time, I am like the abnormal, where I've been diagnosed with this, I can't even say EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, where the hyperelasticity of the muscles. And I think that's why mine just keeps popping out. And it's... You
mean
You can't say it now.
No, I can't say it. I have it in my brain. That's the one.
That's it. Yes. And I think that's why I've got it. But my consultant had to go worldwide. He had to ask what to do, because he kept trying to get me to go to a specialist, and I just didn't want anybody but him, because he knows how after I have surgery, I'm always in for weeks on end with TPN because my bowel stops working, and I just didn't want to go under anybody new, But yeah, and the prolapse type, because there's different types of prolapse as well, which people don't really realise. That I've got an interception prolapse, which is the hardest one to treat, and it's where it kind of goes back in on itself. So it's sort of, you know, those 90s cups that you flipped and the cup would come out. It's like that. It kind of goes in on itself, so it comes out, and then that bit would all fall out. So it's a bit strange. So it goes in on itself.
Do you mean a bit like a telescope?
Yeah, like a telescope. That's probably a better definition. Yeah.
I mean, some of the people that have come and said about the dressing, the main struggles have been is because of their stoma. They appear a size bigger than what they actually are. So they're a size 10, but they're having to go for a 12. And I don't know. I think, I mean, I know one of the lads said he's struggling. He struggles, but he's getting better with the dressing. But it's way too hard at the moment to be wearing support wear. It is, and I mean, how many of you, I mean, if you was given the option after surgery between knowing what you know now and not knowing, would you go for the support belt or would you go for the support wear?
Me?
Support wear.
Any of you?
Yeah, I'd go for the support wear.
Support wear.
I think
Yeah.
support wear. I wasn't told any of it.
Support wear 100%, because I hate those belts because the Velcro moves, it rustles, it gives me a muffin top, but it makes me look fat up my back.
I remember just before my surgery, I found on the StomaWise website about how many things you can get on prescription. Now, I know this is trust. My brain stopped working. Damn it!
Trust-based.
It's through your local NHS trust, and isn't it 6 items per year that you're allowed?
It is 6.
Yeah, there's like, I can get...
Depends, though, because mine's only 3 down here.
Is it?
I'm only
It
allowed
depends on the
3,
funding
yeah.
and how tight your GP practice in an area
I
is.
think I get more than that.
I've had 6
my
and then 3 off another company. I got 6 off Vanilla Blush and then 3
6
off.
lots of underwear, like 6 lots off Vanilla Blush, and then I can have 2 or 3 lots of. I get that from Comface. But I've never been turned down by my GP for anything. However, I'm also not. I don't just take the mick. I only order stuff when I need it, things like that. So, and I much prefer the Vanilla Blush NHS prescription underwear. I just find it much more comfortable. I like the granny pants style. I can't help it. It's actually not granny pants style if you think about it. It's more 50s. So, you know, I'll put that twist on it.
Yeah.
But I found that, like, because I have so many accidents with my leaks, and it's like almost daily. Like, I don't even tell people about it anymore because it's just so normal to me that I have got not very nice knickers, and they're all like the Tesco's like massive apple catchers. I don't really care. Like my partner last week. Yeah, my partner
heard that before. Sorry,
I've never heard of apple catchers. That's what we used to call. Because my nan's knickers used to be apple catchers, and the bras were over-shoulder bolster holsters. Bolster
holders.
Funny. But I found he packed me full of thongs, and I just went, "Are you trying to tell me something?" Because I never wear thongs, and I had my hospital bag was full of thongs. Yeah. So yeah, I kind of my underwear is not. Yeah. Hear the train?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, something has to be open here.
That's okay.
So I heard about
not
another
the freight train. That takes 15 minutes. This body's gone off now. It's fine. They'll be out next week grinding down the tracks to stop the speaking.
Has any of you heard of a paracolostal hernia?
No.
A lady mentioned that she had a paracolostal hernia. Obviously, we were talking about dressing with the stoma. And she's basically said it's with you having it. I'm not sure if it's actually under the stoma or at the side, but it's like being full-term pregnancy. It's that big.
Wow.
I thought she'd made an error with the spelling, but paracolostal. I have to look that one up. It sounds massive.
No, I'm not here to that.
Hang on. Whilst you guys are talking, I'm going to Google.
You go to Google.
Well, why not? I've left my phone downstairs, so.
I know that another double bagger, she's got a hernia at the moment that actually goes under both her colostomy and her urostomy, and I know that she struggles with that. Yeah, so it's massive, and she has to take Picolax, and I think she's having surgery. But I just like to say I had quite a bit of feedback on this, and I just want to read out a little bit of what Vicky wrote. I've asked her, and she said it's okay for me to share, but it was really hard at first. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and crying. I didn't feel sexy. I even told my husband it was okay to go and find someone else, but he told me that I was still beautiful and he would look after me. It's difficult being sick, and my psoriasis has been a huge issue, but I'm amazed myself got back depression into positive. I learned to love. Rosie and Jim being part of a support system has helped, and people who understand I still get moments, but challenging and helping, supporting others and promoting ostomies. And I'm now loud and proud and very much more positive. It's not been hard dressing with my vanilla blush and support vest, walk bags. You can't see them. I feel sexy again, and I rock my urostomy and colostomy, which was quite nice to have on the double bag. Yeah, it was nice.
If people are looking at getting a stoma surgery, I'm pretty sure that you can search for the hashtag #BagWhatBag, and most women, men that post about their clothes with or their outfit of the day with a stoma, they put #BagWhatBag. I know it's definitely prevalent in the women. Pretty sure some of the blokes must do it as well. If not a lot of blokes are all hashtag mad like the women are, but still.
But I mean, if you go, I know Natalie, hasn't she? I know she's not with us this evening, but I know Natalie for the last nearly 2 weeks has been doing ostomy, dressing with a hernia, dressing with a stoma, and other bits and pieces, and that's everywhere at the moment. You can find that on Instagram, Twitter. You can find it on the Spooning Mummy's page, and you can find it on the IBD Ostomy Support Show page as well, because Nat's been posting.
I linked it through my post today as well.
Yeah, and I linked it through mine, I think.
And I shared both of yours and that's. So I haven't written one yet. I probably will in the future, but not at the moment.
No, that's fine.
So what sort of ratio have people had with positives against negatives with the dressing?
On Twitter, I did a short poll because I keep forgetting you can extend longer than 24 hours. So to anyone that actually wanted to partake in that, I apologise because I keep forgetting. I had 12 votes and 6 found that it wasn't an issue. So mine was split down the middle.
It's been split on.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's been split down the middle on Instagram as well. Some find it absolutely fine. It doesn't hinder them, and others find that it does. It's just, I think it's just finding the right thing for you. Like, it's okay us doing reviews and posting pictures up of everybody and everything else, but it's about finding your own, what works for you. So the right bag, the right support wear, because for most of us, vanilla blush might be okay, but somebody else might prefer comfies, or they might not even like any of the stuff that's used, and they might want to go to Marks and Spencer's or Primark and wear the support shorts from there. It's just personal preference to each of the people.
There's plenty of people that just wear normal underwear and maybe use a bag cover from like Nikisha or from Lisa from Stoma Style. You've got loads of options.
I think
I'll just layer in.
I think a lot of it's mindset, isn't it? The messages I got back, there was quite a few negatives that it affected them mentally and physically in appearance. But it's more about their mindset. The ones that really didn't give a shit were the ones that had truly accepted their body as it is and really didn't care what people thought. So, whether they're wearing support wear underneath or not, these are the people that go swimming, with no high belt or anything like that. Like, for instance, you spoke to Kelly you mentioned Kelly last episode. I think she's 6 weeks into her ostomy now.
Yes, she's amazing.
Backwards and forwards to the swimming baths. It's all going really well, to be fair.
I've always worn high-waisted bikini bottoms and stuff. It's just, I like the vintage look about it. And so but I don't think I'd have an issue showing my bag off. But then again, I have accepted it. It's probably the only reason I'm still here, because my mental health went so downhill when I got sick again. It was ridiculous. but it's like because I know you asked a lot of the questions as well in the group, Steve.
Yeah.
About the mental health and side of things, and I did a poll in making ostomies cool, and I did find a lot of people, either I completely worded it wrong, but I found a lot of people didn't realize I was asking about being sick in general. So not just IBD, but like cancer can affect you and other like other long-term illnesses. And I think a lot of people thought, well, I've already had a mental health issue, and that's absolutely fine. And I feel for the people that have, but mine was caused directly by IBD and being sick and being in hospital a lot when I was younger and stuff like that, and seeing the effect it had on my family. And like I still suffer from mental health now. And I spoke to a lady doing a survey for our area, but about maternity mental health. And it just didn't dawn on me how much my mental health was affected by being sick. And I know Louise's was. And I think Natalie has had issues because of being ill as well. It doesn't matter if it's IBD or not. If it's long-term illness, it affects you mentally.
It's got to have an effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, because Nat's got anxiety.
If not now, in the future, it's going to affect you somewhere along the line. I'm sure of it.
Well, I still find it very hard to admit that I have mental health. I find it really, really hard to admit I've been depressed in my life. But I must have mental health for the fact that I was abusing my pain medication. I was on so much fentanyl and OxyContin that my doctor wanted to put me on methadone to get me off it because I was abusing so much. And because I was in hospital and GP, I was just getting from the hospital then to my GP, then to the hospital. They didn't know that I was getting all this medication. But I just couldn't cope. I couldn't cope with, like we talked about this earlier, Louise and I, like I couldn't cope with my hospital admission. I couldn't cope with when I had my urostomy, because I was in it. I think it's like kind of life stuff. Like I was in a bad relationship. It was kind of, I think it's lots of it. But when I was in the isolation and I had the near-death experiences and all that, I just thought, well, now I've got a second bag. I'm just not going to live. And it was I felt so hopeless. Like I spoke yesterday about me being terminal, and I struggled to talk about that out loud. And it's like I felt terminal back then. I felt like not my mind and my spirit had died, like it had gone. And whereas now I feel less terminal now than I did then, because okay, my body might be terminal, but my mind and spirit is more alive than it's ever been. And like that's where I can see actually maybe I did have mental health, because I really struggled.
I'm sorry.
Carry on.
No. It doesn't make anyone less of a person.
It doesn't make anybody less of a person with the mental health side of things, because you have chronic depression, you have the people that want to kill themselves, you have the people that can't find happiness in anything that they do. You have people that go through a stage of being depressed and they dip, and then they're fine and they get over it. It's just a period in their life. But the mental health side isn't covered enough. And I think the main problem that you've got, especially within IBD, ostomies, cancer, anything within that group and remit, it takes so long to get diagnosed. You spend so long being told by your GP, by hospitals, that it's in your head and you can never find an answer. And you just end up believing that you're making it up until you get the actual diagnosis. And then you get the diagnosis, which you then have to deal with. Then you have to deal with hospital admissions and being ill on top of that. So that's another big thing to take on. And then you've got, like, for instance, like Steffi growing up and spending most of her teens being ill. That's going to impact mental health as well, because you've never had the time to be a teenager or be a child or just be a kid and just be go through what most teenagers go through on a typical basis. And it's the same with shock diagnosis and it just coming out of nowhere. How do you deal with that? It's the NHS as a general whole don't offer enough mental health advice or tips to people to help them, other than the GP saying, well, there's antidepressants, go on those, you'll be fine.
It's like your brain tends to hide stuff, doesn't it? It buries stuff for years.
Your brain does.
I've only recently. Sorry.
No, you carry on,
No,
Steve.
no.
So only recently, I've found myself crying over stuff that happened when I was 8 years old, you know, during the care system. And it's mad how your mind can put stuff away for years and years, and it doesn't come up until you're ready to deal with it. But now I can think about that stuff that happened and not get upset about it, you know. I've kind of like dealt with it, but I buried it, but it was there to be found, you know what I mean? It's amazing what your mind can do to protect yourself at the time, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. There's a lot of stuff that, and I think when I was in for those 3 months in isolation, a lot of stuff came up for me, and that's why I then turned to the medication. But yeah, I think it does protect you, because a lot of things, I think it's good. It's a blessing in a way, but when things drip feed, like some things I don't know if they happened, or I just sort of am imagining that.
Yeah.
Well, Stephen told me that I must have blocked out stuff that they were telling me before my C-section, because I don't remember at all them telling me that if the spinal block started to wear off, they'd have to put me under general anaesthetic. I don't remember being told that, but Stephen does, because he was sat there with me. And that was because I was in high anxiety mode. I just I know I shut down, because I only remember very specific parts of that now, and that was only 2.5 weeks ago.
Well, that's a very
I've
stressful
already
environment
started to
anyway,
block.
isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and I'm going to have to go back through that, because I'm going to have to go through PALS, because I don't want someone else going through what I went through.
No, that's fair enough. If you start been through that.
Because I mean, I've had 4 surgeries now, 2 for children and 2 for abdominal surgeries for my IBD. And my first surgery was pretty bad, but not nearly like it is like this time around. And I didn't know what to expect from my first surgery or anything. Like, most people don't know what to expect, because I mean, 9 years ago there wasn't anything out there, and I became quite depressed, because a lot of people with J pouches might find it doesn't stop the leaking. The muscles don't suddenly decide that they're going to work like normal. You've still got all the same issues you did before. You just keep getting told, oh, but you're cured now because we've taken away the active disease, you know. And then for it to come back for me, that set my mental health off in a massive spiral really quickly. To the point that sometimes I do get embarrassed to think about it, but it's happened, and I came out the other side. So, and I went to get help. It was just a shame that I got laughed at by one of the doctors, junior doctor. Kind of hope she doesn't get very further in her career, because she doesn't deserve to at all, for the way she spoke to me and other people on the ward. But I mean, my poor dad was on shift that day and had to come up, because I was pissed off, to say the least, and in hysterics. And my poor dad comes up, and like, he's friends with one of the nurses that was in there, and I was like, and he's trying to be professional, because, you know, he's at work. And then there's his daughter getting strappy.
Isn't he a security guard as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, he took me back to his dad, because I couldn't. I was not in the right space of mind to be around Lyra Beth, and Stephen made a point of coming through and picking me up, and he's like, "Well, I'll take you to your mum's." My mum's, bear in mind, is 5 minutes away from the hospital, and that's a walk. And my dad looked after me that night, because my mum went to work. Like, my dad just talked to me and just took my mind off stuff. You know, I was pretty lucky to have that, because not everyone would have that extra support outside your spouse.
Well,
but has mental health affected you, Steve, with your IBD or your ostomy?
I think it definitely has, yeah. I've always been quite a thinker anyway, you know. Yeah, it's definitely done something. It's changed my way of thinking in a lot of ways, you know. But also it's been a real positive as well for me. You know, it's given back my life, given back my dignity massively. You know, and I feel a lot more happier physically, apart from the like what we spoke about with the hernia. But no, yeah, I think it's done. It's all right. To be fair, I think I'm dealing with it okay. I'm not needing any medication for it as yet. Fingers crossed.
Well, that's good. I mean, especially if you're aware of your own state, like I say state. I'm not meaning like a mess, but like you know when something's changed. I think when you're aware of that, you can seek help, or even if it's just a coping mechanism, you look at it on the internet.
I've become a lot more emotional. I have, a lot more over the last 2 years than I've been in the last 30 years, which is ridiculous.
I'm still pretty emotionally inept.
You're a shut book. You're just broken. You're like Stephen. Stephen's got he's emotionally stunted, and I think currently you are as well, Louise.
I wouldn't say emotionally stunted. I just don't like showing form of weakness. I think I've had that taken out of me a lot. And
it's not weakness though, is it?
No, it's not.
When you've not got somebody that supports you
that's true.
and
That's
tell you or hug you and just tells you to get on with it, you just learn to keep it in rather than let it out.
Totally get where you're coming from.
With me, I cry, don't get me wrong, I do, but I tend to do it when I'm on my own and I've got one cat or two cats sitting on the bed with me. I mean, Rachel and Steffi, guys know that because of everything I was going through in April, I had a massive, great big PTSD attack and scared the living shit out of Ben. The problem is with PTSD, sometimes dependent on how you've got it, you digress back. So you don't know where you are, who you're with, what you're doing. You expect to see the people that were there at the time when it happened, and that doesn't happen. So I was asking Ben, and obviously I was calling him Sean and not Ben. Whoops. But you can't control a PTSD attack, and I find that difficult because I know it's going to happen, but I can't stop it from happening. I went through the CBT and the cognitive training and how to get over the night terrors and how to deal with the anxiety. But with PTSD, it's just learning, especially with things that have happened when it's like this, it's just learning to put things in a box and put them away, and you don't open that box again. That box gets sent down to like
room 101
and doesn't come back up.
I know.
And you learn that. And I think
with me, sorry,
it's post-traumatic stress disorder.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And mine was because obviously I had a C-section. I was fine for 2 or 3 days, and I just went downhill so quick. And when they tried to put me on the life support and everything else, when I was going septic, your organs start shutting down. The first thing to go is your lungs and your breathing when you're septic. And they kept knocking me out and putting a breathing tube down my throat on the intensive care unit because they couldn't get hold of my surgeon and consultant. And they weren't giving me enough sedation for my body weight to knock me out, because with the steroids and everything else that was in my system, it was literally fight or flight mode. So they was giving me the sedation, it was knocking me out for a bit, but I was coming around again and I kept pulling the tube out. And I did the same when I come around 3 weeks later after all the surgery. But what they did with me, they didn't slowly introduce me to what happened. They just literally waited until I was lucid, had the consultant and the team come round and just whack the blanket off. And all I had was red raw, open wound, biological mesh. I could see the lot. And I had a stoma as well, which I had something in at the time. And obviously I had everything else in. But I'd done that again. They were bringing me round. But the way that they's bringing me round, they wasn't keeping me under enough to stop me from moving. Now, I couldn't move my legs and stuff, but I could still move my hands and my arms. And I pulled the breathing tube out again. And I think I pulled the central line out as well, if I remember rightly, because I remember the nurses running from the bed going, no. But that's what the PTSD is. And I think because when you've been on life support and you've been asleep that long, your body doesn't want to sleep. Your brain's going, nah, I ain't sleeping. And I didn't sleep for nearly a week, I think it was, after having surgery done. They had to sedate me again in the end to get me to sleep. And that's where the PTSD's digressed from, because I didn't have any control over it and what happened. That's just a manifestation of all the trauma that I went through.
I suffer panic attacks when I remember I went to have a flexi sigmoidoscopy. Stephen and I might have only just got married, and they just introduced that if it's a woman-only bay, your partner can't sit there. And I just flipped and I panicked and I was like, and I just got dressed and I left because I couldn't deal with it. I got it rearranged, and my sister decided she was going to come with me so that I had someone there, and so we'd gone on the wrong day anyway, which was completely fine by me. But obviously, we might have found maybe the pop trace a bit earlier or whatever. But I panic with things like that. I panic really badly if someone tries to put needles in my hands. Obviously injections in my back, if anyone had read like my blog posts recently about my childbirth and stuff, like I'm terrified of needles in my back. And after I made the decision to have the C-section this time round, because the first time around it was always going to be done, I started having panic attacks. I couldn't get to sleep. I was taking as much painkillers as I was physically and mentally prepared to take, knowing I was pregnant. I then got put on a low dose of amitriptyline, which is supposed to help you feel drowsy. It's a type of antidepressant. That did nothing. And panic attacks, and I ended up sleeping downstairs. I was using sleep hypnosis stuff, all sorts of things to try and get to sleep, and I couldn't. Yet when I was in hospital for the week before, I slept fine. I had no issues. I slept all the way through unless I was woken up in pain. It should have been the other way around, I think. You know, I should have been like freaking out, but I feel safe when I'm in hospital.
I'm glad you do, because I don't.
I felt constantly tired in
do.
hospital.
I
spent, probably because I spent so long as a kid, and in the children's ward I had an amazing team of nurses and consultants, and the junior doctors used to write down all the things from the doctors round so my parents could read when they came round later on and things like that. And like I was really well looked after, and then when I moved up onto the adult wards, it was pretty much the same. And like now the surgical ward, like one of my friend's mums is on there, and Stephen's cousin works on there, and some girls I went to like school with and things like that, and they work on the ward, and I feel safe. I feel like I know I'm gonna get looked after. But when I go up to the big hospital, I don't have that safety net. And
I agree with you, Steph.
You with your GP,
yeah,
it's you've got your safety net with your GP, and obviously you wrote that post because you went, you know.
But with in hospital, what are you saying about hospital?
Yeah. So I've got my safety net.
Okay, right, Louise, you say your little bit about your safety net, and then
I did.
Rachel, Harry, we didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it. Oh, no. I said my surgeon is my safety net. I don't trust any other bastard. And that's my own gastro consultant as well, and he's supposed to be really good.
I think
that's the same with me.
So I found that when I was in hospital, because I've been in so much, I've made friends on the ward. Like we're on Facebook, and they're getting told off now. So then we have to not be. But I didn't add them; they added me, to be fair. But I've got like friends, and I sleep quite well when I'm in hospital. And when I leave hospital, it's always like quite hard to adjust. Like, and I find that I usually have like a few panic attacks then, because I'm usually like the last few months I've only been in like a week stay, 6 days, which is nothing. Usually I'm in like weeks and like weeks. So like it's really short stays. And when you've been around people for so long and they've looked after you, and you know you've got the support. I don't live with anybody, and my family live in Wales, so I'm on my own really. And I've got lots of friends that help support, but it's like to come back to that is quite hard. And I think that's what I found difficult. The admissions is like on my mental health is that I'm in, and then it's like starting again. But now I kind of look at it as it's a respite for me, because it makes me stop, because I'm so busy. It's kind of, and that helps a bit. just flipping that around.
It does help that you can't get Wi-Fi and you've got your limited data, so you can't do much.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'll honestly tell you, the amount of time I've spent in hospital the last 14 years, I hate hospital with a passion. I can't stand it. I panic going for a normal appointment just in case my blood's come back and something's wrong. And
don't get me wrong, I hate being admitted, but when I'm in there, I feel safe. I hate being admitted.
I mean, with you guys,
get used to
it. Another thing that people were saying about was the anxiety, because obviously we've covered the mental health side of things, but the anxiety, that's a difficult one, isn't it? It's a bit more of a spectrum thing than a mental health with the anxiety. And I mean, what have your guys' replies been to that? Because I know a lot of people were saying that the anxieties were since having the surgery with the leaks, and the leaks making them cry, and the not sleeping is making them cry, and a
lot of more people for me were saying like their anxieties were more around when they had IBD, because you didn't have any warning. You needed to know where everything was, toilets, anything. You needed to have like just knowing where everything was, and going somewhere new panicked people a lot. And a lot of people don't seem to find that issue with having a stoma, because you can have your supplies, you can have a change of clothes like small enough a lot of the time to fit in your handbag, depending, or a backpack in your car. You don't have to take a ton of stuff all the time, but just having some in a car helps. I've got stuff in a car. It's probably massive compared to what I am now, but hey ho, I could always buy a belt.
I'll have to admit, I was having a massive freak out when we got to Belgium because we didn't have a hotel. You girls know, because I was messaging you, but I was having a massive freak out because obviously we had the car. If we didn't find a hotel, we could have slept in the car for the night. But where the hell would I have found a toilet to empty my bag at 2, 3, 4 in the morning in Bruges?
I wondered where you'd gone. I saw the post saying he's taking you away, but I wondered where you'd gone. Belgium, was it nice?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah.
But I was panicking and I was having a shit fit because we didn't have a hotel. I was like, well, where am I going to empty my bag? Where am I going to sleep? Where am I going to change my bag? What if my bag leaks in the car? And it's all this stuff's going through my head, and I'm getting panicky, and I'm trying not to be ungrateful because he's taken me away, and he's taken me to Belgium, and we've gone to Bruges, and it's lovely and everything else. But I'm like, what if I leak?
He was probably in a worse state than you was, because he's probably thinking, where do I go for a poo? You know what I mean? In that respect, we're the lucky ones, I'm sure of it.
He's watching this match, take my headphone out and see if I can hear him laughing.
I've been at the beach, and I've actually, shamefully, I went on Saturday, and I had my bags out at the beach, and I spoke, and this lovely couple gave me their seats because they were leaving, and gave me their paid loungers. And the husband didn't even notice that I had the bags. So I just wear them out proud. I don't care now, because if I cover them, like I've got lovely vintage knickers, but it's just pain. So it is too painful. But yeah, I oh my God, I completely lost what I was talking about.
You're at the beach. And
I just emptied the bags, and I made a little hole. We were there from like 6 till 12, and I was making holes and just emptying it slightly, and then putting the sand back. And it's like, you can't do that if you don't.
Nice little surprise. Later.
Oh no, I did feel bad afterwards. Like, oh God.
I wouldn't worry. I've done like down like in Canterbury. We've pulled off somewhere on an industrial estate, and I've had to jump walls and go up into the woods with white Converse on, bear in mind, and do an emergency bag empty with like a KFC burger wrapper or something that I found in the back of the car to wipe my bag clean because I didn't have anything on me. I've done that.
We'd gone to some waterfalls in the Dales on Sunday, and I was like, I need to empty my bag. I can't get to the car. I can't get that far. It's really swollen. It's massive. And Steve was like, well, there's them woods there, or there's them there. And I was like, I'm just lucky that I have children, so I always have wet wipes with me. So, but it was a mad dash because people were leaving at that point. I was like, shit, people are coming. And I was like,
what if somebody's going to see overload? Because I've done it. You girls know that I've been walking. I'm starting back up again tomorrow because I've had my 2 weeks respite, so I'm allowed to do what I want again. Yay, I'm not under Gestapo rule. So I'm started walking, and obviously where I walk is in the middle of freaking nowhere, and I've literally looked both sides, whacked it out of my sports bottoms, and just done an empty down the side of the river or in the woods.
I'm glad it's not just me then.
And just continued on my way and just hoped to God that if I do walk past that way and there is a mass of flies, I'm just going to completely deny it was me.
You're so ladylike, Louise.
You could always pretend that you're picking berries or something.
Yeah. You can't help it though, can you? It's like getting caught short if you're a runner or doing the marathon or saying, Jesus Christ, they put you in the middle of the road.
The last thing you want is the bag when it's full, and like because mine gets very full because the prolapse takes up the majority of the bag, so I need to empty regularly. And the last thing I want is an accident, especially when I need ice and all this crap to get the prolapse back in.
It's
so
not that, it's the weight of the bag as well, because the weight of the bag compromises your base plate for your stoma anyway, doesn't it? If it's weighted down, it's never supposed to be more than half full.
Well, mine's fit to burst right now, and it's itching because it's that bad.
Oh.
Like, because obviously I had Jacob, and I was like, what do I do? I need to log in. So I was like, be fine for an hour. I haven't leaked yet. I've been checking constantly though.
Oh crud! Is that the time we've overrun? Yes, again.
Can I just quick mention about my bag?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been trialing a new bag, and I can't say much about it apart from it's a concave bag for people with hernias. Absolutely fantastic. It's the best bag I've ever tried.
Do you mean convex as well?
No. So it goes like this.
No, it's concave.
Okay.
It's designed to fit on a watermelon, I think.
Oh my God, I've not heard of that.
I tell you what, it's amazing. I've never had. He hasn't given me any. You know, like I'm constantly putting my hand down to check. You know, like if it feels warm or it just feels like you may be having a leak and you're not, but your mind will tell you to do it anyway. They've been absolutely fantastic. I've got about a week left, and I've probably used half the amount of bags that I usually would.
That's fantastic.
They stick brilliantly. Originally, when I tried this brand, when I first had my stoma, I suffered with rashes from the glue. But it's been fantastic. So
that's really good.
I'll let you know more about it when I can.
That's great.
Well, if you wish to, right, next week we are rolling out Osto, my love, the microactions is coming to an end. We've had something in the pipeline for ages now. We will stress this. We are not medical professionals. We do not suggest that you try this without seeking medical advice, but we have 3 ladies, 36 bags, and 3 weeks. Rachel's not doing the ileostomy bag purely because of her prolapse. We can't expect her to test and trial other stoma bags when she's got a method that is working to a degree. So Rachel is going through the urostomy process of ordering samples and writing reviews for the one that she's currently using, along with the samples that she's ordering as well to help spread awareness to other urostomists, because we found across the groups that the amount of people that are asking for advice about which bags to try and how to go about it and allergies and everything else, everybody can be forceful and say, well, you need to use this bag, you need to use that bag. It's okay being told to use this bag and that bag and everything else, but you need to know the method behind it and how to order the samples and how to see your stoma nurse, what affects you, what doesn't. So what we are doing, we know each of us have allergies. We know what we can and we can't use. So we have been checking with everything for this, so nobody's skin's compromised. So I'm sending 6 of each of mine to Nat and Steffi. Steffi and Nat are doing the same, so we're hoping that Royal Mail do send them to the intended place, or else we're missing about 2 weeks worth of stock. And we're trialing that out for the whole of July. What else are we doing? Next week, I think we're doing about the ordering the samples, aren't we, on the show next week? How to go about ordering samples from the relevant companies, along with listing all the companies that provide the stoma bags and how to get them. I think, is that what we're doing? And
I think so, yeah. I've had a couple of people request that we cover the different reasons for people having stomas.
That's good.
We can do that
Which
next
I've
week.
obviously already done. I've already done a poll on. So if anyone wanted to talk about specific conditions they have, because I don't know anything about FAP or Ehlers-Danlos. I probably said that wrong, but it sounds close enough.
Yeah.
You know, and other things that, like, there was a huge list, and I haven't got a clue what a lot of them are, and I'd love to know more. So if you've answered that, please, or it's not being IBD or cancer specifically, please write in and let us know, because I'd love to know why you had a stoma rather than just the 3 ones that we usually get told about.
No, I think that's good because we're meant to be covering the spectrum with regards to why people have ostomies. IBD is just an umbrella that we use because that is what it's mainly
And
known
it'll cover the urostomies, because a lot of people have them for many different reasons for urostomies as well.
Yeah. And double buggers have so many other medical conditions. Like mine wasn't. I've got IBD because of stomas. I didn't have my stomas because of IBD. And I was. It was good you did that poll, Steffi. It was really interesting, and it was good for me to know that there were other people out there. Because I lost because it isn't cancer, it isn't IBD, although I have it now, and I can feel like lost. And it was nice to know that other people with similar reasons. It was good. It was a good poll.
Right, okay. Right, now we've done that. I think we've overrun and everyone needs to empty. Right, okay, we're going to say good night for this evening. If you look out for the polls and some of the stuff that's going up next week, we will have that up and out by Monday, Tuesday at the latest. So next week we are covering samples, how to order them and where to get them from. And we're also covering the different reasons behind having a urostomy, ileostomy, colostomy, or J-pouch, and we'll also be covering double baggers. For those of you with urostomies, if you head over to Rocking Two Stomas, Rachel's done a campaign poster at the moment with regards to highlighting awareness for that. Please take a look and share, because the poster is absolutely fantastic. Awareness needs to be raised, and unfortunately Rachel's stoma team are that far up their own backside that they've said that it's going to upset people.
You mentioned it, not me.
I'm allowed to because it's not my hospital.
Yeah, you can mention it.
But to be honest,
and it's hashtag WeBagsUnite as well.
It is, yeah.
Hashtag you're like hipster with the little sign.
Oh yeah, we're also doing hashtag bag roulette as well, aren't we?
Yeah,
cool.
bag roulette.
Bag roulette.
What's bag roulette?
Ostomy bag roulette, where we're swapping bags to see what it's like.
It's been planning for months, but anyway, right, we're going to say bye to everybody. We'll say bye.
Bye.
And we will see you next week. And thank you.
Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Bye.